What's poppin', world? It's the kid Greg Pax, aka I Shoot. And if you do this, follow the coolest. Don't hide, subscribe. Hit the like or take a hike. Either way, I still love you. Yeah, and today I'm gonna give you guys 5 tips on how to get booked for any gig. So tip number 1. I know it's gonna sound like common sense, but since I got rich, I ain't been common sense. I'm just But for real though, tip number 1, shoot the you want to get booked for. Like, if you want to do product photography, shoot products. Literally all day long. Just take pictures of products. If it's sneakers, find creative ways to take pictures of sneakers. Put them on this table here. Get to snapping. If it's liquor bottles, get that liquor up, shoot it. Do what you gotta do. Whatever the product is, if it's wedding rings, if it's camera lenses, if it's knives, if it's spoons, whatever it is, just keep shooting that product and post that on your page consistently until they feel that this is actually what you do. This is your expertise. This is your specialty. Because a lot of times, especially when you're first starting out, you don't know what you want to shoot. You don't even know what you're good at. Like, especially for me, I know when I first started, I shot everything, literally everything. From birds to trees to the woods to deers, just anything I could find, especially because I didn't have access to humans yet. So it was tough. So I had to go on that journey to kind of discover myself, sort of say, just discover yourself, discover yourself, discover yourself. And after going through that journey, I'm like, yeah, landscape doesn't really excite me too much. Um, let's try some portraits, and that's when I found my niche. But throughout that process, I shot a lot of products, just anything. At the end of the day, it only helps because you're practicing at the same time. So as you're posting this content, people are seeing this as, okay, this is what he's really into. This is his specialty. Let's give him a shot and let's book him. Like, this is all he does. Like, that's the guy that shoots families. Like, he's the family shooter. Like, he kills family shoots. His maybe his sporting shoots ain't too, all the way there. His fitness shoots ain't all that. But when it comes to family shoots, he kills family portraits. We want to get that guy. So, tip number 1, shoot this you want to get booked for, right? And that's with anything. Now, tip number 1 kind of ties into tip number 2, because while you're shooting the that you want to get booked for, it's also giving you the opportunity to gain experience. So tip number 2 is gain experience any way possible. Yes, any way possible, even for free. Now, it's a catch-22, right? Because how can you get experience if you never get hired, right? You haven't been hired for a gig. You want to shoot weddings, but nobody in their right mind is going to hire you for a wedding because you have no wedding content. So what you do is you get your hustle on. You offer your services for free in exchange for experience, right? So I know when I first started out, I wanted to get into portrait photography, but of course no random model was just going to hit me up unless I had some type of portfolio or background history of just being able to shoot a human. So what I did, I got creative. I shot my wife, I shot my son, shot my mom, my brothers, cousins, just people I had access to for free. But I treated every one of those shoots like they were paying clients. And that's how I gained the experience. It's almost like that fake it till you make it thing, where people think you're getting booked like crazy, but in all reality, you just have a huge family that lets you take free pictures of them. So you do that until you build enough confidence to where you kind of put your service out there and reach out to actual models. Yes, I said it. Reach out. It's not always one way. This networking thing can get you into doors that a lot of degrees can't. So reach out to models. You never know, because they might be on that same journey, or whether they're established or amateurs, they might just want to get in front of that camera just so they can actually get some practice and get a few poses down, whatever it is. But as long as you set the expectations that this is a test shoot, or this is an opportunity for you to learn, test out your camera settings, test out your lighting, things that you've learned along the way, whether it's composition, etc., etc. Always put yourself in a position to where you can always gain experience. And then you'll start getting booked in no time. Tip number 3. Uno, dos, tres, un, deux, trois. Yes, guys, I'm French, Spanish, and Japanese. I'm lying. But tip number 3, know your worth. Seriously, guys, even when you're just starting out, and everything I'm telling you is from experience. So when I was just starting out, I didn't know what to charge anybody. So even if I did get booked, people were just taking advantage of me because I really didn't know what to charge. So in the process of trying to get booked, always have a number in your mind of what you think is worth from all your experience and all the hours you put in practice, and you know what it takes after you're done with that shoot, what it's going to look like that night when you're sitting up to like 2 o'clock in the morning picking the right pictures to import into your editing software, and from there color grading them, from there removing pimples and just doing all types of just photo manipulations and photo editing just to get it just right. You know what that process is like. You also know what the process is of just being able to invest in yourself and purchasing the accessories, the camera gear, the actual camera, the tripod, whatever it is that you need to bring to that shoot. Don't forget traveling. Not all the people you work with are going to be within your vicinity. You might have to take a trip out of town. Like, you got to put into consideration your time. Your time is priceless. Whether you're an amateur or professional, your time is still valuable. So know your worth. And when people do reach out to you to actually book you for something, they're going to get that sense of, this guy is serious. He knows what he's talking about, or she knows what he's talking about, etc., etc. At the end of the day, you just want to kill it. Know your worth, right? Like, don't lowball yourself, and also just be realistic on the price you're putting out there. A technique that I've learned, which I actually read about in this book called Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion, written by Robert B. Cialdini. I'll put the link or description or whatever that book is called somewhere in this video. But yeah, so in that book, like I said, it's a psychology of persuasion. So in the midst of knowing your worth, you don't want to lowball yourself, and you also want to keep it realistic. So what has worked for me is I try to be pretty aggressive with the initial offer or the initial proposal. Because if you read that book, there's a chapter where they discuss the law of concession, where it's essentially where you pretty much exactly what you want. So let's just throw a number on it. Let's say you wanted $100 for a shoot, right? That's just a random number. Let's say you just wanted $100 for the shoot. You're not going to say that out the gate. What you're going to do is you're going to charge yeah, I'll do the shoot, $250. They might be like, whoa, wait a minute, that's a little too much. Can can you work with my budget? Blah blah blah. you know you'll gladly take 100, but you're gonna throw that 250 out there, and of course they're gonna try to talk you down. So from the 250, if they're really heckling about it, giving you a hard time, you say, you know what, I'll do it for 200. And they're still giving you a hard time, you're like, fine, 150. But you know what your baseline is. It's that 100. So always start out aggressive, but don't ever go below your baseline, right? So that's all also in the bubble of just knowing your worth when you're getting booked for these gigs. Because like I said, your time is valuable, and you got to put a price on it. Tip number 4. Never stop improving. Period. Yeah, never. Even when I'm not shooting, I'm shooting. Oh, like, if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready, right? Like, even if I don't got the camera in my hand, I got my phone, I'm not missing a shot. I'm taking the picture and I'm gonna edit it later by any means necessary. And if I'm not taking actual pictures, I'm on the computer. I'm on YouTube, just like you are right now with me. I'm on YouTube, searching, watching some of my favorite YouTubers, getting tips from Peter McKinnon, Alan Polander, North Borders, just the photographers that inspire me, the cinematographers, the videographers, the bloggers that give me the tips that I need to be successful. So I'm always learning new techniques, and I'm always applying them, always practicing. Just never stop improving. It's super important. At all times, apply that to any aspect of your life. Just never stop improving. I promise. And my Instagram is Pax Shot It. So if you go check it out, my progress is literally documented, and that's what I love about it. So you can see where I started from shooting like this to now shooting like this. You feel me? So never stop improving. And for the last and final tip, we made it, guys. The final tip is, drum roll please, promote. Promote your business. It might sound tedious, but invest in yourself. Get business cards. Post random videos on your IG stories, on your Snapchat. Like, trust me, I don't like being in front of the camera, right? But to jump back into the last tip and never stop improving, I don't like being in front of cameras, but I gotta practice somehow. So I'll take a ton of self-portraits just to play with the highlights and shadows in Lightroom later, just to see where I could have done better. How could I tweak this color, or how could I have made this pop? How could I have made this crisper? And it's the same thing with promoting. Like, try new things to get the name out there. Just network. Get those business cards. You know how many times I've been out in a park just taking random landscape shots, and people just see the camera and gravitate towards me, and they're like, hey, do you got a card? And I didn't have one at the time. I felt like an idiot. So it was a huge investment, and it was a small investment, but I got a huge return off of it. So trust me, it's worth it. Even when you're at a bar, you're at a restaurant, you're at anybody, just any opportunity you have to plug yourself in, like, hey, I do this. And it doesn't just apply to photography, just anything. Any chance you get to plug yourself in, show people your page, like, hey, check this out, I do this. Well, it's just networking at the end of the day, and you got to network for your net worth. And there you have it. Those are my 5 tips on how to get booked for any gig. I'm really out here. Y'all already know what to do. It's the Kid Greg Pax, aka I Shoot. And if you do this, follow the coolest. Give it a like or take a hike. Either way, I still love you. Don't hide, subscribe. Peace.